My name's MayKing.
And my name's Dave Johnson.
And we're here to tell you about our first of many workshops that we're going to be running. This one is going to be on SEO and social media strategy. Now, I know what you're thinking. £39. It's cheap as chips. And that's not what we were going to say at all, were we?
Probably not,
Shit.
but going back on that, it's cheap as chips. We can keep it cheap if we get more and more people to attend. As long as the venue cost is covered, you lot start to really enjoy the workshops. You find the practical workshops. No?
No.
Okay.
We don't want to force people to come because we're going to do it anyway, aren't we? Right? No. What did I say I was going to talk about? I'm going to talk about. Oh, if you can't come.
If you can't come.
Do you want to say that or no? No.
I don't think it's much relevant because we want people to come.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So shall we talk about the networking?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Shall we just do we'll just do a chat about networking?
Yeah. All right then.
Yeah.
About experiences about networking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay then. All right
So
then.
do normal introductions.
Sure. Go on
Yeah.
then.
Hi everybody, my name's David Johnson and I'm sat with.
MayKing, how are ya? You all right?
Now we're not going to talk about as workshops on this little chat. We're going to talk about networking in general. So we'd love your input, but we've done quite a lot of networking.
We have.
And I remember doing my networking. The first one I think I ever did was under Brian Butcher at the Fruit Tree at the Doncaster Dome, I think it was back then. So, I don't know, does networking work? What's your opinion?
Do you know, I think you have to do a lot of homework before, for networking to go, be productive and fruitful for you. And I think a lot of people go to networking thinking that they're going to get some business straight away.
Yeah.
They thrust a business card at you, don't they, and things. And then they complain because it doesn't work. And there's a strategy behind networking, which I don't think a lot of people realise. I don't think they understand the psychology behind it, and maybe they're just scared of doing it right.
I think things I realised, Fruit Tree finished a good 4 years ago, probably a bit longer.
Right.
But I still get work today from the people who I met back then.
Oh,
and like you say,
amazing.
it does take time.
Yeah.
At least a year in that same group so people can get to know you,
Yeah.
get to trust you,
Yeah.
have a good laugh, take mickey out of each other, go on parties, get drunk. But that's why I enjoy networking.
Which networking events are you going to?
Been to a few like that.
That's amazing. But yeah, I think that with networking, there's a bit of homework that you need to do. Ideally, if you were running a networking event, if you were organised, it might be good to see who's going beforehand. Have a quick look at the people who are coming and have a look to see if there's any people that you want to see beforehand. Maybe even arrange to see them before the event or during the event. But that's what I try and do. Okay. So if there's anyone that I think that I could potentially help or that I feel I could learn from, I always like to learn from people.
I don't think you pick up things, and I think I've learnt a lot over the past few years.
Yep.
I've made some mistakes, I've done some big boobies, I've done some right mistakes. But things I've tried to notice and working within myself is, when you go into a networking room, don't go into the room and think, how many people can I do business with? Go into the room and think, how many people can I help in there? And the rewards do eventually come back.
Absolutely.
Even if they don't, you feel so good that you've helped somebody.
Absolutely. And I think the other thing as well is that, especially with the power of social media, because I like my social media, you can really get networking to work for you, both in the run-up to the networking event, on the networking event itself, and afterwards. Now, how do you do that? Well, if you find a list of the people who are going beforehand, and you can actually send a private message looking forward to catching up with you, if you're not able to arrange a meeting with them. So then at least they know that, you know, you're going to be there. And then, of course, on the event itself, you know, you get to chat to people and stuff, take a few pictures, selfies, you know, maybe even do a quick interview. I mean, that's what I've done before, where I've met with someone, found them absolutely fascinating, loved their business. So I just do a quick Periscope, a Twitter Live, shine the spotlight on their business.
But you're not a shy person, MayKing. And there's many people out there walk into a networking group and go, holy, and they just can't do it.
Do you know, that's a very good point. And sometimes I do get a little shy, David, I really do, but you're absolutely right. So for those people who are seasoned networkers, why don't you try and help those people who haven't been to a networking event before, or you can see are really shy?
What's a seasoned networking? Is that going to go out in winter or something? Or? Come on, tell her.
No, a seasoned, an experienced networker.
Oh, an experienced
right?
networker, right.
That's what I meant.
So you're an experienced networker.
I guess so, yes.
Yeah.
And so what I try and do is I'll, you know, have a quick scan around the room, and if there are any people who are, you can tell they're a little bit nervous, or they're looking at the phone and looking up just to see what's going on, you can tell that they, you know, it was a massive deal for them to be there, and they just don't know how to take the next step, or they're too scared to take the next step. So for us who are seasoned, experienced networkers, go up to them and say hello. Ask them how the day was, what they're up to, how did they hear about the event, what is it that they want help on.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that experienced networkers can actually do. Now you can also take it to the next step. Because if you've been to a networking event often enough and you get similar faces and you get to know each other's businesses often enough, then you can introduce people to each other, and that's when the networking magic happens. So if you started talking to somebody and they said, oh, well, you know, just in the middle of doing my website, but I need a logo, then you may know someone who might be able to help them with their branding. I mean, logo is not the end all and be all. It's just the start of brand awareness. So you can maybe find someone within your community that you can help. Yeah. Or you can go and ask somebody, hey, this is, you know, introduce that person, tell them what it is they do, and say, do you happen to know anyone who does a logo? You know, and that kind of thing. So you can actually bring people into the conversation as well. That's what we can do to help others.
I just found it a bit easier for people to talk about stuff that's not work related.
Yep.
What have you done on the weekend?
Yep.
Where you're going on a holiday?
Yep.
It's bucket loads outside. Have you got a boat? You know, but just try and take it away from your mind just being on the sales all the time and get to know the people a bit better. That's where I've learned a lot of.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's a good point. I mean, I was going to be a bit sexist here and say it's easy for us women because we can actually, you know, comment on people's clothing, you know, the shoes, the handbags, or if you've got a well-dressed chap there, you can, you know, comment on the waist jacket that he's got on, or, you know, the shirt that he's got on, the tie, that kind of thing. But you're also able to draw the conversation out of business as well?
Slightly in a different way. I can't go up to a guy and say, lovely jacket. You know, they might think I'm trying to put one on, but, you know.
But talking about the weather.
Talking about just things in general. You might have even seen the guy pull up and you might have liked his car.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
what wheels have you got? You know, I did like it, you know. Yeah. Take it away from work, I think, and get to know the people behind the businesses.
Oh, brilliant, brilliant. So anyway, I hope you found these tips useful on networking. But before we go, shall we talk about networking blunders? What's the funniest moment that you've ever had at a networking event?
Oh, I remember my first one. In fact, Brian Butcher will probably remember the first one. I've never ever stood up in my life in front of 30 different people.
Right.
I think we were about 35 there.
Wow. Okay.
And doing your sales, your little elevator pitch. Yeah. I went red like a beetroot. My hands were shaking. My sweaty palms. You know what I mean? 10 vodka and cokes, I'd have probably been all right. But it's not something that you got given when you walk through the door. I'll try that again next time.
10 vodkas and cokes, please, over here.
Before I do my pitch.
Do you know, I went networking once, and my colleague, my business partner at the time, because I lived in Australia for a few years, and she just came up to me horrified. She said, can you try and get rid of this person here? And apparently she got talking to this guy who was in real estate, and she just kind of mentioned in passing that she was maybe looking for somewhere. So then she started, walking, because it was a massive venue. There were 120 people. It was my first event after running a Facebook group for months. My first event, lots of people came. And so after she'd spoken to him, the conversation ended. She actually walked elsewhere. He went following her. And then she went over there. He went following, and it was like a Benny Hill.
Full stalker.
Yeah,
I like it.
You could have put the Benny Hill music on it. He just went on, and she didn't know how to have the heart to say, "Look, I was just being polite. I'm not really interested in real estate. I was just, just trying to, So that was horrific for her.
So,
and so
4 glasses of water later, I'm running to the toilet. So I'm out of here.
But yeah, I mean, I've had those people who've, looked at their watch while they're talking to me, looking over the shoulder, seeing if there's a better prospect. I actually had one lady who said, "Hi, my name is rah-rah," thrust a business card, and then buggers off. That was it. That was it. So yeah.
But they're the sort of people you won't do business with.
Absolutely.
Because they don't know how to network properly.
That's right.
And it's the hard salespeople that I don't know. It comes across wrong.
It does. It really does. And it's all about reputation, right? Because, people will see that it's made a bad impression, and you're likely to switch off. You're probably not going to remember that particular person, are you?
No.
And so if you're not going to remember that person's not going to get any work. But if you help people, like you say, help people as much as possible, service them as much as possible, they are more likely to remember you as a really nice person, and then they're more likely to remember you and offer your services or recommend your services to somebody else. And that's the great way of networking, the best way of networking, right?
It is.
Yeah.
I think I remember one occasion. I've been to a few.
Yeah.
I think you sit on a table, and there's about 15 of you on a table, and every person round the table gets like 2 minutes. And you can, if you look around while you're sat on these tables, you can see that nobody's listening to a word you're saying. All they're trying to do is work out what they're going to say in their 2 minutes. So, you might get remembered, you might not. There's got to be better ways of doing it. I mean, what's your ideas? How would you do networking?
Do you know, I remember when I first came to Sheffield and I was invited to a networking event, and I remember that, everyone was doing their elevator pitch and so on. This one person got up and went to the front and delivered the presentation, like her 1 minute speech to the rest of the group. That was memorable, and I thought that was really effective.
Better than just standing or staying sat down.
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
Do you stand up or do you sit down?
Definitely stand up. No. Definitely stand up. Because also as well, when you're standing up, this is the inner rock star inside of me, your diaphragm opens up when you breathe out, when you breathe in, and so you're able to project your voice a bit more. Whereas when you're sat down, you don't really breathe in as much, and so therefore your voice is not going to carry as much. So it's always good to stand up, and actually that sort of puts you in the position to become ready, become that superstar, set up that pose in order for you to project your voice. So I think standing up definitely helps.
I'm not good at posing. I'll just put a TV screen there and play a video. I'm off. Pub's round corner.
But you're not going to make a good impression then, are you, David?
No, that's very true.
No, so get up, strike a pose, project your voice, tell people how you're going to help them.
And be Madonna. Tell us your thoughts, everybody. What do you reckon? I mean, I don't know. Do you do networking? Does it work for you? If it does, tell us why.